first in this second year that I'm giving. So it's nice to see such a good turnaround here. While on my internship, I interned at Wipro Technologies in Bangalore, and I had these two movies at the back of my mind that I really wanted to catch up. They were The Lunchbox and the second one, Ship of Theseus. Now, I've still not been able to catch up on those movies, partly because of our DC hub. I'll sure make a 100 rupee contribution to that. But frankly, these two movies have really, what should I say? They have really got one good critical acclaim for themselves in various international film festivals. And my speech is fairly based on one of them, that is Ship of Theseus. Now I'll come to that part later. Before that, the speech that I'm going to give, it's more about an introspective question. But then again, that introspective question comes at a much later stage, and this Ship of Theseus, this paradox, will explore the backdrop of this question. Ship of Theseus is basically a paradox which explores that if there is an object whose each and every part has been replaced, does it remain the same object? Is it fundamentally the same thing even if each component, each element that comprised it has been replaced by a new component? Now this paradox is quite old. It was proposed in the 1st century BC by Plutarch, who in his book, the legendary epic Life of Theseus, explored the possibility of whether Theseus' ship, which gets replaced wood by wood, oar by oar, hull by a newer hull, a newer wood piece, a newer oar, does that remain the same boat? When you come to think of it, sounds like a funny question, but actually it has been a hotly debated question for all these centuries. Aristotle, Herculean, and even recently James Brooke have debated upon this question and have come out with their own philosophical interpretations of the same. More recently, the movie that I told you, Ship of Theseus by Anand Gandhi, revived the memory of this paradox back in our minds. The movie again has a very stupendous story. It revolves around three settings. In the first, it explores the story of a blind photographer. She lost her sight due to a cornea infection. But as she lost her sight, at the same time, she was also gifted with a knack for moments. She could sense when there is a moment which is absolutely right, which is just perfect for a photograph to be clicked. And she could click them in black and white, pure to perfection. But then she gets a claim, she has ample money to get her surgery done, and she gets her cornea replaced. But having her sight back, she feels that she has lost her inspiration. The second story, which is more enduring, is about a Jain monk, Maitreyi. Throughout his life, he has fought for the causes of animals, and he has protested and made it a point that it becomes the purpose of his life that he protests the animal testing which is done for drug development. However, he is diagnosed with a liver cirrhosis, which is fatal in this case. He is faced with the dilemma whether to take a medicine which has been tested on animals but is a sure medication for his disease and give up his purpose, or to become a chain man and take and give up his purpose altogether. The third story is about a stockbroker, Naveen, who is a recent recipient of a kidney, a donor kidney. But he has become obsessed with fighting for the cause of a poor guy in a slum whose kidney was forcibly removed during his appendix operation. Little does he know that it is the same kidney that is resting in his body right now. These three stories revolve around the same central question, that when the things are changed, or when your elemental things that remain so elemental to the foundation of your being change, does that change you? Now, on a lighter vein, if I have to draw parallels on Ship of Theseus, I think in this setting the best parallel would be the type of assignments that we submit. We take up different parts, we take up different topics from different sites, fudge them up, collate them to produce something, and then we try to claim that it is altogether a different thing. So much for plagiarism. But now the answer to this conundrum comes from another point. The point is that Aristotle actually advocated that there are 4 types of forms that are central to your being. One is its design, not the actual mechanical design, but the purposeful design. Second is the material element of what it comprises of. The third is the end form, or what is the purpose of it. And fourth is the efficiency form, of how efficiently has it been made. Aristotle argues that the end form is the most prime and the most supreme of all types of forms, and it does not matter what material is used for it, because it's the purpose that drives you through. And this is where I bring in the introspective question, that as long as your purpose remains the same, your idea remains the same, you live, you are that same person. Your idea is the same, it does not change. It does not matter if it is being carried out by someone else, or it does not matter what your background was earlier. But because the end form is the most superior of all the forms, the ship of Theseus is the same ship, because it serves the purpose of making Theseus reach the coast of Athens. So in the end, I'll just say that people change, times change, situations change, but when the sense of your purpose remains the same, you are basically the same person. Thank you.
That was a very good speech, Anand. It's been a long time, right? So he hasn't lost his touch. Should we take credit for it? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. Let's take credit for it later. So talking about movies, I'm a great fan of unorthodox Hollywood movies, but I didn't watch this particular Ship of Theseus movies. I was feeling bad about it. So let's call upon Nivetha.
Before I start, may I know what's the word of it?
Offbeat. What's the word of it? Offbeat.
Okay. Eternal and immortal, transcending across sands of times, I stand as a pole holding all that rhymes. Men may come and men may go. I am here as a canvas for everything that they wish to pour. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and hello to all of you. I am not intending to take any lecture today, but the topic on which I have prepared for may perhaps be termed as How to Woo Girls 101. So all you guys out there, if you really want to take any notes, I'm not guaranteeing that any of these tips are going to work, but perhaps it may just come of use to you somewhere down the line. My memory is a little poor, so I'm going to take aid of this paper, so please pardon me for that. First thing that I would like to term as, I won't say the most important thing, but that's something you have to pay attention to. You need to look good. Come on, yeah. We live in the world of infatuations. If you really cannot present yourself properly to the girl who you like, what is really the point? All of you expect, right, that your girl should be well dressed, that she should not be clumsy, that she should be a person who appreciates who you are, and of course herself, well, that apart. But anyways, isn't it important that all of you look good? And looking good is not something that comes just by your genes. It's something that just involves you present yourself properly. So what does presentation involve? Well, I'm not going to take any classes on that. I'm just going to leave that to the guys. No branded stuff. We are not really specific about it. But just, yeah, at least shave. Early in the morning, we look at your face and then you're all those clumsy. And then you come in the breakfast hall and you're like, hi. I'm like, yeah, hi. My day is done. Point number 2. You really want to go talk to a girl. And then you're like really hesitant. You simply don't know what to say. So you're like, hi. I mean, come on, yaar. It's after all a hi. We're not going to eat you up, okay? And girls out there, well, there's a caveat, huh? You're not going to insult any guy or be rude to them. Come on, yaar. Even they need some guts, you know? So let's just pump that guts into them. So point number 2, try innovative ways of talking to your girl. Come on, we have flirty lines, don't we? We have WhatsApp. What are friends who are females for? Just go to them and ask, okay, I want to propose a girl. So how do I ask her? Any questions, you may contact me later on. Point number 3, you need to smell good. Some continuation with respect to point 1, but smelling good is important. Yeah, we know you don't bathe for 3 days and then your rooms are like filled with bottles of perfumes and all those things. But just remember to spray it in the morning because we really can't stand when you sit next to us and smell so bad. And yeah, think beyond Axe, okay? There are much more better perfumes than Axe. Point number 4, you need to be charming and have some attitude. Charming just comes in the way you portray yourself. Well, I don't know if I'm charming or not, but the thing is, you just have to be confident. When you go up and you talk, I don't want your mouth to smell bad either. So yeah, please brush. Have some attitude and play hard, but not too hard. Girls like it when their guys actually play hard. Come on, yaar, we are something that has to be valued. So if you are not going to give us the due value that we requisite, then we are going to just treat you like something that we don't really prefer. Stage 1 completed. You're done with all your flirtings. Now we're going to just move over to points that are a little more serious. So you really wish to take your relationship over to the next level. 5 points follow. Just before this, I gave 5 points. Quick reminder. First one, good looking. Second one, innovative pickup lines. Third one, you have to smell good. Fourth one, think beyond accent. That's very important. And fifth one, you just have to be charming and have some attitude. Okay, so we are moving on to the next level. What is the first thing that you really need to impress that girl? You have to show her that I'm here to stay. I'm done with all this people who just come as passing clouds. Well, I'm done. Let's just move on to the next level. Point number 1, intelligence. We are real suckers for people who do good maths, okay? So if you really work hard in your QT paper, and if you're really going to top that, we don't expect 4.33. Come on, just get at least 4.86 and help us with our math. We are really bad at it. Girls are good at English, literature, not at maths. Point number 2, anyone who surprises us is welcome. We are ready for surprises. All of our lives, we just wait for some miracle to happen. But miracles don't happen unless you really put some effort. So why not put some effort from your end? We don't need gifts. You just come and say something that we expect the least. Maybe the fact that you just bathed that morning may be a good surprise. Point number 3. Yes? Thank you. One who can really bear a girl who talks. Not just with respect to me, but we really expect guys to be the listeners, okay? I mean, we talk here, we are just born to talk. If we can really not talk, and you can really not bear the fact that we are really, really argumentative, that we really make a fuss of everything that we can just do in this world, after mom, who else do we argue with? So if you really can't put up with a girl who argues a lot, not your forte, just move away. And my timer just reminded me that I had only time for 3 points to be put up, so I'll stop there. But all I have to say is, after everything that I've said, life is all for fun. If you really can't have fun, what's the point? Have fun. Thank you so much.
So I was taking notes about that, actually.
That was entertain later.
I didn't shave today, but I smell good, okay? So,
No comments.
about the 2 points, people should be able to talk, and the confidence, Toastmaster will take care of it. Okay? So, moving on, who's next? Let's call upon Shubham Nishad.
Good evening, everyone. This is my first speech, so it will be about myself only. My name is Shubham Nishad, and I belong to Jabalpur. Actually, I was born in Faizabad, UP. It's near Ayodhya, and I spent most of my childhood in MP only. But my schooling or major part of that has been in Jabalpur only. So I'm quite attached to it. Now I studied in school Jawan Navodaya Vidyalaya Jabalpur, and it was same school in which my father taught. So you can expect what I was expected of from everyone else. Like I had to be academically very good, morally and character-wise I had to be on the highest self. So it had been quite a hard life for me till 12th class. After that I went for IIT JEE, but sadly couldn't qualify it. But got admission into NIT Bhopal. Now NIT Bhopal has given me the best 4 years of my life. I got lots and lots of friends who had been through, who had been with me in highs and lows throughout my college life. It was fairly a comfortable life as every engineer has. At the end, I was placed in Tata Projects Limited, but I wasn't. I was expecting like I would really progress from there, but that didn't happen. So that gave me motivation to take CAT and go for IIMS. And thank God I'm here. Now next is that.
Try. Take a minute. Don't look. People don't look at him. Look here and there.
Finally, I expect to pass out from here with a good percentage, good job, and lots and lots of good memories.
What about your childhood? Speak about your childhood.
Sorry to interrupt, but you're from Jawaharlal Vidyalaya, Doctor. I'm also from JMP, but we have so much fun there. I think we also.
Talk about your school days and examples. Take 30 seconds.
Your hobbies.
That was a good speech. Actually, my icebreaker wasn't that good either, so don't worry about it, you'll get better. So let's call upon Akhil Mahajan. I'm taking a random call. Okay, sorry. I'm taking a random call. So.
Good evening, Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen. This is my first speech, maybe after 15-16 years. So, I have taken part in a storytelling competition maybe in 3rd standard. So after that, I am in front of you. So this is my ice-breaking speech. So I would really like to break the ice between me and you. First of all, I'll try to introduce myself. My name is Akhil Mahajan. I am a resident of Jammu City, J&K. I've done my initial schooling in Kishtwar. You must have heard the name of this place recently. It was in the news because of some unfortunate incident like communal riots. So after that I went to Jammu, my hometown. I did my schooling 10th, 12th from there. After that I went to NIT Srinagar. I'm an engineer. I've done my graduation in electronics and communication engineering. After that I went into a telecom company. My core domain was electronics and communication, so I got a job in telecom vendor Nokia Siemens Networks. I've worked for 3.5 years there. So my profile was there generally related to the technical part, not many management or business related things were there. So initially 2 years the work was very grueling, so I didn't get chance to study. But after that there were 2 people under me, so I studied then prepared for the CAT and landed up here. So nothing offbeat about me. I am a regular guy. I am a regular chap. So, but coming back to the ice breaking part. So there is a instance in my life that I'm not particularly very proud of, but I want to share with all my fellow Toastmasters here, Toastmaster members here. When I was in 11th class, there was a sports tournament in my school. So we were the host school. So there was a competition going on for table tennis there. So nobody from my school got enrolled in that. So I thought maybe if I can participate in that, I'll be able to get a certificate. I had played only once or twice table tennis. So I went into the sports arena, into the sports stadium. What I saw, I completely freaked out. The level of competition was huge there. The participants were well prepared and they were hitting the ball, smashing the ball very hard. I never expected that. So what I did was, I ran off from the place, from the sports arena. I went to my home, stayed there for 2 days, didn't show up in school. So there was a guilty feeling inside me that I failed myself. I was feeling that I have embarrassed myself, my friends, in front of the whole school, because we were the whole school. So I lived with that feeling for 2 days. So then I went to my college. So what I did there was, I learned table tennis. So it was kind of albatross bound around my neck. So I just wanted to learn TT so that I can leave that albatross. I can leave that albatross from my neck. So I learned TT. Right now I'm good at TT. For the record, I'm representing PGB1 in table tennis men's double. Nothing. See, I don't want to count my achievements here. The larger point that I want to draw. There was something that moment when I left my school. It was actually fear of embarrassment, fear of failure. Now I'm standing in front of you, I'm facing the same fear. After 16, 17 years, I told you I'm giving my speech, so I'm facing the same fear of getting embarrassed in front of you. But one thing that I learned from this incident is that if you want to master a skill, you have to take the bull by the horns. So that is precisely the reason that I got into Toastmaster, and I wish I'm able to shed my fears of public speaking, and I'm able to master that skill. And I wish, I wish everybody who is sitting in front of me does the same. Thank you.
Well, Akhil, that was a very good speech. Quite inspiring, I say. I'm happy that we have very well experienced people in Toastmasters. We can use your wisdom. So, since you didn't like the first joke I said, I've come up with a new one. So basically, I'm from a humble background. I studied in Marathi medium school, so I had no clue about English as per se. So when I was in engineering first year, I used to say to my friends that let's go to a restaurant. So my friends say, which restaurant do you want to go? I said, let's go to this Bobby Ganeshan, which is a new restaurant in Pune, and we are like, okay, he knows the joke, I guess. So I said, okay, let's go to this Bobby Ganeshan. They're like, which restaurant is this? I'm like, okay, let's go and I'll show you. We go there, and my friends are saying, it's not Bobby Ganeshan, it's Barbie Ganeshan. So let's call upon Narahari Payala.
Hello guys, first of all I want to say sorry to Toastmaster because with Sportscom work I didn't sleep last night. Today when I slept at 4:30 I was not aware of Toastmasters. When I woke up at 8 o'clock I suddenly saw a gentle reminder. So it was not much of a gentle reminder for me. So sorry for being that. The first speaker I don't know the name. I guess it's Niveta. So I'm very happy that Niveta went out because whatever qualities he specified, whatever I mean, none of them was there in me. No, okay. I'll start with since it ended up as an impromptu speech. I'll start with myself, the easiest topic. So I came from Andhra Pradesh, Chittoor district of Andhra Pradesh. I came from a rural background. So till my 10th class I studied in Telugu medium. So there is nothing called a stage fear or a fear in front of crowd, nothing like that. But my verbal skills stayed intact. Till this time, I have been blaming my past, being a Telugu medium student. I was searching for reasons to find out. I was searching for the reasons for me not being a good speaker. But finally, when I reached the stage, when I reached the final stage of Placecom interviews, where I was almost, I was rejected for not being verbally good. So I realized that this is time to crack it. It is time to, as he said, face the bull by its horns. So that's the reason why I joined Toastmasters. Apart from that, as Akhil Mahajan was saying, I think you are a bit underconfident for the TT part you have said. So I will share my experience as in volleyball. So when I entered IIT Guwahati, I was not a good volleyball player. I was a starter. But then the environment over there was, I thought like there are very, great quality of, the quality of game was so great. I thought they already have very good players, I may not get a place in it. So there was one guy, the captain of the team at that time, he told everyone came from the same stage, you attend the practice sessions, you will reach the level. I didn't believe in that, but then I started attending. So I was very sincere to practice sessions, but within 1 year, I reached the stage. So it's nothing about, a good player. Some people say that, oh my God, look at Sachin Tendulkar. He's God. There is nothing called God. Yeah, you can reach that stage if it's with practice and determination. Yeah, the next part I want to mention is our inter-IIT sports meet, which was held in IIT Delhi. So our team was, compared to some other teams, our IIT Gauhati team was full of freshers and first year, second year, and third years. So generally other IITs has PhDs, MTechs and all, so their team will be so strong, some national, state level players and all. So I was the captain of the team at that time. So how I went about it was, there was nothing called a game plan or nothing like that. At that time, I was a fan of Barcelona. I was fan of football. I was following European football. So a lot was being talked about the tactics, the game plan, part of it. So I thought of implementing the same to my volleyball team. So I was so enthusiastic. I watched each and every player of the tournament, league matches. I literally gave instruction to all my teammates to watch the game of each and every individual player and take notes of it, how their rotation is, who is their best blocker, who is their best smasher, who is their best defender. So after all, we got a very good report of the teams we were facing with. So even though we are not by skill wise we are not a very good team, but then the tactics part we implemented exceptionally. So that worked out a lot. Like if I have to name some of them, whoever their best smasher may be, we had a very good blocker. So we used to start with a rotation such that our best blocker will face the best smasher. So if he is dead, their game is dead. So such kind of tactics worked up, and we got a bronze medal. It was a very unexpected result, but that was one of the biggest success for me. After that, I represented PGP1 in volleyball team. This volleyball also. So we embraced them. We almost won. we almost won. We were at the game point and they were at 22. So the players were chill. The main point, one more thing I want to say. Whatever the quality of team may be, once you motivate them, then it's gone. They will give the best output out of them. We can get the best output out of them. So what I did was, in the first set, Jali was their best player. So I kept one inexperienced player, one tall guy as a blocker. He didn't know the underarm, upper arm, nothing. He was just tall. So I kept him for blocking Jali. That worked out. He blocked him, only one block, and I shouted in such a way that I killed the confidence of the Jali. So from only after one block, in the whole 3 sets, he didn't go for even one smash. He was dropping. This guy is inexperienced blocker. He didn't notice anything. He just, because of the one smash and the way I shouted, he was gone. So I was shouting. The team, the whole team, morale went up, and although they were inexperienced, they gave best output out of them. So anyway, we lost the game, but the display we have given was awesome. I felt it was awesome. So since I have time. So this is but then this is really an icebreaker for me. I think that's all I can say about
People are talking about their sports a lot. Even I like to brag about my sport. I like chess. And even I'm hoping to represent PGP1 in Chinauti. Let's hope. All the best.
PGP2.
of all, thank you Nivetha for Girl 101 lecture. But I beg to differ because my girlfriend wants me to have a rugged look. She doesn't want me to shave. Now this was supposed to be a prepared speech, but because of 8 hours of sleep and some other assignments, crappy assignments. Sorry, I'm not supposed to use the C word. Some assignments I was unable to prepare anything. So I usually people suffer from writer block and I suffer from speaker block, and I usually don't know what I'm talking about. So first of all, I am Ankit Chauhan. I was born in Nepal. Former 7 years of my life was spent in Nepal. Thereafter I moved to Ghaziabad, the crime capital. You can term it as a crime capital. You almost have seen the Zilla Ghaziabad movies. Most of my schooling was done in Ghaziabad. My first school was St. Paul's Academy, which was like a home to me. It was a second home to me. Thereafter I moved to DPS Ghaziabad. It was literally a culture shock. The concept of bikes, girls, infatuation, everything was introduced to me in this DPS Ghaziabad. There was a usual effect. My marks started drooping low. Teachers used to throw me out of the classes. So the result was that I had to drop an year to get admission in a engineering college. Now the best year of my life was my drop year. Running after the buses, haggling with the auto rickshaw because I was just paid 50 rupees per day. And within those 50 rupees, I had to move from Ghaziabad to South X. 20 rupees, I used to spend 20 rupees to move from Ghaziabad to South X, and 30 rupees was spent coming back. So my per day allowance was 50 rupees, and those 50 rupees have taught me a lot, how to save money, where to spend money, and all those things. Then after drop year, I joined IIIT Allahabad. Now, people usually say that being a male engineer and being a general male engineer is a curse, but I never found it so. I was quite happy being an engineer, but there was gradual transformation in me in my engineering years. I was quite notorious back, till 12 I was quite notorious. But it had transformed me from a notorious extrovert kind of guy to a shy kind of person. I used to be in my own shell. Now I want to get out of that shell and I want to regain whatever I have lost within those 4 years. After engineering, I joined Samsung. Now I started mouthing obscenities. I never mouthed obscenities before that. The first obscenity that came out of my mouth was for my manager, who tried to take credit for my work. Though now he and I are quite good. We are quite good friends, but still, I regret that fact. After that, I joined Wise Commerce, which is an e-commerce firm for about, I had been working there for about 1.5 years. Now I'm here. It's a little bit hard for me because I used to enjoy 10 hours of sleep during my job years. Here also I try to sleep for at least 8 hours, but again, you people, the seniors usually call me. There's the infra committee work. Yeah, the people, we usually have all sorts of stuff regarding the food, the land problems, and I usually end up spending 2 to 3 hours a day. I usually sleep for 3 or 4 hours a day. So I'm hoping that I can break out of my shell and I can be what I was, whatever I have lost, and I can be a better person here.
That was a good speech. I felt it was a kind of offbeat speech. Clap. So let's call upon team of the day. Anusha, Murli,
Murli has a UST. It's not bad.
So Murli is coming for his response. Sorry for that.
Good evening. Today I am going to give a speech.
Speak up.
Okay. Today I am going to give a speech on hostel life. What changes it brings in you. You really don't realize when changes are being occurred. You realize them when you go to your home again. And Probably when your father or your mother tries to wake you up in the morning at 8 o'clock and he says that, "Beta, utho, it's too late." And I was a person who used to wake up very early in the morning, like never after 6 o'clock, at least 5, 5:30. But after coming here, we are expected to sleep, we are expected to enter in the hostel at 11 o'clock, but we are not expected to sleep at 11 o'clock. Because so much of, sometimes assignment is there, sometimes somebody's birthday is there, sometimes your roommate has some work, he wants to do something, and even my roommate, he takes newspaper and starts reading this. Yaar, come on, yaar, I want to sleep. And in the morning there is PT at 6:15. And what all I can say is that it's a little bit more freedom is there to enjoy. Parents are not there to say that take a bath now, brush now, all that. But freedom should be enjoyed with responsibility. Otherwise, all the things that should not be there in your life, they will come without asking you. Okay, I'm almost happy with it now.
Talking about getting early in the morning, even I have the same problem. I get up so late. So let us call upon TT Mafute.
Hi, before I formally introduce myself, a gentle apology to Nandhari for a gentle reminder. Well, I didn't expect that, a male would scare people. Like, people scare people. What a male. Anyway, I'm Anusha Bisetti. I'm taking the role of tabletop master of the day. And I get scared sometimes because every time I open the form, there are new people, giving their names. I made sure that there are only 5 rows, but people are intelligent, they use all that cat intelligence over here. They include rows and there were 10 people, luckily 2 people have dropped out. Because the main problem is you need to come up with new topics, and with every session and all that, we have 2 sessions per week. Coming with new topics is also very difficult. So, and well, you know what a table topic, table impromptu speeches are all about. You will be given a topic, a random topic. You will be given 30 seconds to think about, and then you need to speak for 2 minutes. All have done that. And one important, one best part about, you might expect it would be funny and all, but the best part about this is people who have guts. I mean, you come here, you don't know what the topic is about, you are given only 30 seconds, but in that 30 seconds you have to think about it. You have to understand the topic, come up with a story and present it to all this, do in front of the crowd. So I think all these 8 people who have given their names are really gutsy. So who would like to come up first? Your topic is you've just beaten Kim Kardashian in People's Magazine Worst Test. You should give your acceptance speech.
What? Can you repeat the topic?
Okay, you've just beaten Kim Kardashian in People's Magazine's Worst Dressed Award. You give your acceptance speech.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anjali Chaudhary, and my topic is that I have just beaten Kim Kardashian in the worst dressed celebrity title. So it's a very proud moment for me. I have always wanted to be, I know people would always consider it to be an offbeat idea to actually be a worst dressed person, but actually, it's a lot of hard work to be the worst dressed person. So as you know, Kim Kardashian has over the years just monopolized the whole position for being worst dressed. The guys might not agree, but the girls might agree that she has not really been very good at dressing. But it has been my childhood dream ever since I've been following Kim Kardashian. She's like my idol. So I've always wanted to be like her, but this was one place where I wanted to beat her, and I'm so glad that finally I've beaten her. So thank you all so much for voting for me as being the worst dressed person. This is honestly the true moment. I would like to thank my parents, who have never bothered to tell me that I'm not dressed properly. I'd like to thank my friends who have been equally ignorant. I would like to curse my best friend Manisha, who has always said that I don't dress well, because see now what it has got me. I've become the worst dressed person and I've been so famous. So thank you everyone.
Well, I hope the video, once it's uploaded on YouTube, Kim Kardashian sees it and calls you to her reality show somehow. Okay, we'll call for on show. Well, since you shared my name, I'll give you something which I actually want. We all want suggestions as to how, this is something most of us could relate to. Should give suggestions. The topic is, why should I clean my room every day?
Good evening, everyone. My topic of the day is, given to me is, why should one keep our rooms clean? I don't know. I'm a bit of a neat freak, so I completely vouch for this idea of keeping your rooms clean. Because first thing, I find that when you're in a hurry, you're trying to get ready for class, and you're not able to find what you want, you're not able to find that misplaced assignment or the case study, it becomes really difficult and you waste a lot of time and you begin to panic when you're getting ready for class. So yeah, one good thing is you find your assignments, your case studies and your textbooks, whatever stuff that you have to carry to class. So it's easier for you to get ready for class. Secondly, when you have your rooms organized, well, this is something that happened to me in the afternoon, that I had not cleaned up my room and I was trying to just stash up my textbooks into my table, and I dropped my mug and I broke it. So right now I don't have anything to drink water from except for my bottle. So yeah, you might tend to lose things or break things if you're not keeping it clean. And also it's really horrible when you get into someone's room and you see that it's stinking of wet clothes, dirty clothes. I don't know, at least use a room freshener or something. So I like clean room which smells very nice. And other than that, yeah, I'm a huge fan of junk jewelry, so I like to keep them organized. And it really annoys you when you cannot find the other pair of a earring. So yeah, that's why I think one should keep your rooms very well.
That was inspiring enough, at least I hope so. We'll call Parth Yadav. Well, you're a prisoner and you have to welcome fresh batch of new arrivals.
This is a good topic. I think
Good evening, everyone. I hope I will speak longer than the last time. And it'll be great if I get a chance to invite new prisoners. And I'll do something similar on the way our seniors have done for us So I'll make them do yoga at morning 3 o'clock. Make them run around the jail. Then probably jail food is not good, so I'll ask each and everyone to make a dish for me daily. Some sweet dish. Then make them wash my clothes. What else? Then something of jail. What was here?
Assignments.
Yeah, if there are any assignments, I don't know what kind of stuff. Make them do assignments, rank them, make them sing songs, make them dance, and finally organize a DJ party for them. Make them dance on some songs. What else can we do? That's it.
Probably in every child, whenever new set of people arrive, he should be called upon. There is a discipline level increases. We call lunges moment. The topic is, you draw your inspiration from Osama bin Laden. Describe why.
Hello friends and good evening. Pretty offbeat topic given to me, I guess. Am I audible at the back or do I need to get wired up or something? So Osama bin Laden, the epitome of evilness or villainous personality which we can imagine. But then when you say about drawing inspiration from such kind of a person, it would be for the things he did, for the causes he stood up for. I mean, like there are a lot of things which go on. I mean, things may not be right every time, but then you need to try to get what you want. If there is any problem which you are facing, or maybe if things are not right or just or fair, then you need to voice against it. You need to demand your rights. You need to fight for them at times and get what you rightly deserve. And not just for you yourself, for a selfish motive, but for your community as a whole. So it's about thinking about the right things and achieving the right things in life. Maybe through not the generally perceived right manner, but a manner which is which you feel or your community feel is right, and you see to it that you are not perceived as a weak soul or community, and that you get your due respect and eventually get all the things which you deserve in life. That's what I can think of.
Both Hulk and Batman think that it's not working out with girls. So they think they want to go to a team and take together what can possibly go wrong.